What's your reaction, Paddy, to Laurent Blanc stepping down?
I think it's. I must admit, I had the feeling that he was going to be a really that big a manager, that he would be a candidate for the Manchester United job when Ferguson, if Ferguson at the age of 195 ever does step down. But because of course he's a former Manchester United player, very highly regarded as a man and as a football
fantastic
man
central defender
by Ferguson, apart from anything else. Oh, wonderful player. In his time, though not at Manchester United. I think most of the fans were quicker than him.
He was a centre-half when France won the World Cup
yeah, but he
in
didn't
98.
play in the final because he was cheated out of it by Slaven Bilic. That's right, yeah. And I must admit, early in the tournament, I wondered, could we maybe have a Croatia-France final and retribution? But no, he didn't handle the campaign very well at all, did he?
No.
And
well,
so
what
I think
do you mean by that? I mean, why the view?
Because they got worse.
Why?
Why is Cesare Prandelli the coach of the tournament, even if he loses the final? Because the team has gone like this. And the ability to do that during the course of a tournament is very, very difficult. I remember Berzot doing it with Italy before.
Yes.
You know, this ability to peak at the right time. Germany, unfortunately, reached a peak in the quarterfinals.
Yes.
You know, that was unfortunate for those of us who.
There is a common denominator between the two, which obviously is the fact that France had that long unbeaten run, 22 games going into a tournament, and Italy haven't lost under Prandelli, 14 games since 2010.
Can I just put that aside? The reason why I think Blanc failed is because they seemed to be in exactly the same place as when he took over. The problems within the squad, they hadn't been dealt with. No matter if you take the 20-game unbeaten run, they still seem to have those problems within the squad.
Have we got Erik?
Well, look, we've got Erik back, pleased to say, and he's waiting to speak to us. Erik, can you hear us?
Yeah, we can. I can.
Excellent. Great to have you on the show this afternoon. You're speaking to Paddy Barclay, the experienced columnist, and Leroy Rosenior.
Hello, mon ami.
I knew he was going to pull that one. Great to have you on the show. We were talking about Laurent Blanc and the fact that he's decided to step down. Paddy was focusing on the failed campaign and the fact that the trajectory of the Italy team was upwards and the France team was downwards. What do you think was the key reason for Laurent Blanc stepping down?
I think, first of all, he has been very disappointed by the behavior of some player. He was really trusting them to be back on stage. Nasri was dropped for 2010 World Cup by Raymond Domenech because Raymond felt that guy couldn't really suit in a group, in a social way. We can have exactly the same words on Ben Arfa. Ben Arfa also was really a player to have him adapting in a squad on a 1 month basis to be put together. So that's the main failure for him. But behind that, we knew from the first step that the chairman of the French FA, Noël Le Graët, was not really keen on Laurent Blanc for many reasons. So if you want, I can give you some details straight away.
Please do, please do.
Yeah, the first one is that the wages. Laurent Blanc was quite highly paid compared to the standard of French FA, around £100,000 a month, which is nothing compared to the England FA, but this is 4 times or 3 times more than what was earning Raymond Domenech. Then Laurent Blanc came with 23 people working alongside him, like Fabien Barthez, the ex-Man United goalkeeper, as the preparation goalkeeper. So the team was very heavy and very highly paid because all the money have been negotiated before the contract was done 2 years ago, before Noël Le Graët was elected as the chairman, and Noël Le Graët felt that was really badly spent money. So what was the asking of Noël Le Graët? First, instead of 23 extra people around you, I want you only having 10. That was the first thing. Second, I want you to cut your wages.
Wow.
That was something very unusual to hear from Laurent Blanc. And third one, Laurent Blanc was willing to have a 4 years contract because 2014 is the World Cup, but 2016 is the Euro Championship in France. And he was willing to have a 4 years deal. And he was offered 2 + 2. So it was obvious that from Noël Le Graët, the 3 offers which I just explained, were negative offers, and he was willing, Laurent Blanc, to put a negative answer to it.
So, Eric, are you saying that despite the behaviour of the players that you mentioned, the France Federation could have allowed Laurent Blanc to sort that out, weed out maybe the bad apples, as we would say here, and carry on, but the problems he had with higher command, who wanted to cut his wages, who wanted to cut his backroom staff, basically those things are the ones that forced him out of his position?
Yeah, I think the problem with the players is on the side of Laurent Blanc in terms of his will maybe not to stay in a team where he feels there is a nucleus of players which really for ages have put negative problem in the squad. That's his feeling. But if he was able to have the 23 staff members staying there, a 4 years deal, and the same money or maybe an increase in terms of the money request, he would have stayed, and he would have maybe gone on a very different policy in terms of choosing and picking players, and maybe dropping some of the few ones who have misbehaved.
Eric, so what is this, Leroy here, Eric? So what you're saying to me is that it wasn't Laurent Blanc's responsibility to choose the players, that he didn't choose those players.
Yeah, he did choose them. He made a mistake. He made a mistake,
right.
And I think he's disappointed by the players, but I think he was upset with himself because some of his advisors in the squad, when I mean the squad, I mean the staff, they were before the championship to say, please don't pick up Nasri, don't pick up Ben Arfa. These guys will put trouble in the team. And Laurent Blanc says they have changed, they have understood, and they are matured, and they play consistent football.
Eric, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good. Would you say that looking around at a successor, which names have been bandied about, and is Vieira a possibility?
That would be a great surprise. I think Vieira has just retired, and I think he needs a couple of years before to make up his mind if he wants to become a manager, if he wants to become a national coach. We expect Didier Deschamps to be the next French manager. Why so? Because he have always been dreaming about it. Second, a couple of days ago, he have made a statement that he finished his deal with Marseille, and he doesn't want any longer to be the manager. So Laurent Blanc goes, and a couple of days before, Didier Deschamps says, I am available. So you can imagine that it's not a coincidence. Yeah. And behind that, there was a short list with a couple of other managers, like Paul Le Guen, former manager of Lyon, who at the moment is Oman national head coach, and the second one was Antoine Comboiré. And Comboiré was the Paris Saint-Germain coach till December, has been sacked. And just before, a couple of days before, he signed a deal with Saudi Arabia club Al Hilal, and for big money, but also because I think he got good information that he was not going to be the next French manager.
No, go ahead.
Eric, just one that comes into my mind. No mention of Harry Redknapp?
Hey, come on. He has to be paid by himself.
Allegedly.
A poor country and a poor football association.
Now, a couple of very quick ones while we've gotten really pleased to have you on. We're talking to Erik from L'Equipe. And Erik, you were basically talking about Nasri. And I want to ask you about some comments from William Gallas earlier this week, because he told France Football, people have really learned for themselves who Samir Nasri truly is. And I wasn't in Ukraine or Poland. That's a reference to the long-standing feud that they have between themselves. He says that, I don't want to make excuses, but young players have big heads. But they're not the only ones to blame. But he does say when a youngster has talent and he's coveted by the big teams, his club does everything to keep him and accepts his every whim. These young players don't have the circumspect or maturity to take a step back. Do you think that Nasri has shown himself to be immature during this tournament? And do you think he has a future within the France national team?
That's a good question. I really have no clue. I think at the moment he's really put aside in France. He's really hated by, I would say, 80% of the football lovers. And not only the sports journalists are going against him, but also all the comics, you know, the humorists on TV show, they really go at him, and they really go at him with a bitter kind of funny words. So that means that in the general public, Nasri is on the dark side now, and it will take ages before him to be back in a positive mood. So I guess maybe till the World Cup 2014, if France can build a decent football team without him, the new manager will try. Otherwise, if he takes Nasri back, that will be the first heavy critics against him, and the atmosphere might be for the early stage bitter.
Now, Erik, I've got to get a very, very brief answer on these two questions, otherwise the producer's going to sack me. Yann Vieira, there's some reports that Arsene Wenger's ended his interest in the midfielder because of his behaviour during the tournament, and also Olivier Giroud. Arsenal fans a little bit unimpressed with him during the tournament. He only came on as a substitute a couple of times, I think it was. So just those two questions. And Vieira, do you see him going to Arsenal? And Giroud, will he be a success in this country based on what you've seen?
Vieira, I guess Arsene Wenger has been very disappointed by his behavior, but he knew that he was that kind of guy before it, so he might take it as an excuse not to have Vieira, but this is not a fresh news for us. And second answer, Giroud will never be Van Persie, but he will never be Chamakh. Don't expect him to be the superstar, but he won't be, I think, a big failure. And this guy is desperate to learn, to improve, so he deserves to be respected. And if he has had no time to play, this is not his fault. So he has not impressed, but ask Laurent Blanc the question, why for?
Erik Bielderman, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Really do appreciate it. And hopefully we can get you on the show for longer next time.
Okay, my pleasure.
Thanks, Erik.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Okay, au revoir les Écossais.
I knew it'd do that.
You know, I hate that man. He's nearly as old as me, and he shouldn't be that good looking.
You know that.
We'll go and get someone to find. We'll get someone finding a mirror to convince Paddy that he's not as bad as he thinks during this very short break. See you soon.